Ooh, that is loud, you fellas. Did not realize I had made that intro so loud, but that is a rousing entrance to the Lowco Diamond Dudes episode 2. We made it to episode 2, fellas. But I guess I didn't fire any of us this week, so that's a good thing. It's a beautiful Major League Baseball opening day. I see Wes is repping his Red Sox. I'm repping my Cubs. We don't see any Yankees stuff on Mullis yet, though. I'm sure it's coming out.
I'll break it out.
Yeah, it'll be coming out, but repping UTM, your boy up at Martin. So good stuff. Let's talk some baseball, guys. We got a lot going on. We've got Chris Wells waiting in the green room from Hilton Head Prep, so we'll chat with him here in a little bit. But leading off, we had some action finally last night after a couple nights of rainouts. Got back out there, and Mullis, you were smiling this morning, buddy. You got up on the right side of the bed. How about those Sharks?
Yeah, nice win last night. Tyson keeping it up. Trey Smishnick coming through with a 3 RBI night and played pretty tight on defense. It's a nice win. Good ball game. Wes was there. I mean,
I was there. I really enjoyed it. Great.
How long did it take? Hour and 45, hour and 50 minutes?
It was close to that 2-hour mark, right? Hour 40, hour 45. I mean, great timing. Well-played game on both ends and just really fun to watch these two teams. And he mentioned a lot about the parity of this region. So many teams close to each other in talent. And Hilton Head, they've got some hitters. Ethan Russo had a fantastic game. He had a clutch RBI single in the 6th to tie it. And even earlier, he had a seed to the outfield right at the center fielder, unfortunately. But, man, he was locked in today. Both starting pitchers were outstanding. It was an excellent ball game, and I just really enjoyed, getting first time I was able to get over to Ron Costello Field and really enjoyed it. But this May River team, they've got some boppers up and down the lineup. Mischik was he saw the ball well. He delivered some clutch hits throughout this game and a couple of hard hit line drives. The first one, center field for Hilton had nearly a chance to catch, but it was scalded down middle. So he's seen the ball really well. Great to see that for May River. They've got a lot of different options around the lineup to turn to here so far this season. So, just all around a great ball game, and just really impressed by, the tenacity for Hilton Head to fight back after they were really they couldn't find. They only had one hit through, I believe, like the first 5 or so frames. Brazelton was unbelievable on the mound. Velocity on his fastball, it was getting up there. Very, very strong command. He had some nice breaking balls, some good movement on his pitches. I thought his command and his movement were excellent. And Hilton had some trouble, but he did make that one mistake to Russo.
About cost him.
He took advantage of it.
Yeah, one pitch about cost him. He got up 0-2, and, he missed 2 high fastballs, and he'd been missing high fastballs all night. So I called one more high fastball. I wanted it up, kind of shoulder level, and he got it down about belt level, and he about didn't get it back. Nobody hit a line drive.
How about
Will Corncoman and getting the save and striking out the side?
Ooh, he's nasty. He threw hard last night. He's buying into that cutter, and that's it was on last night. So
the Sharks,
that was a well played game. I don't think there was but 2 walks in the whole game. 1 or 2 errors. I mean, that game just flowed. That's a good high school baseball game.
Kind of like that rec softball game I coached last night.
Yes, 17, right?
We drew 15 walks and 7 hit by pitches in a 13-4 win. It was a great display of selectivity at the plate by the killer whales. But it's rec softball's a little different animal. But speaking of softball, May River won big at Hilton Head, 12-2. Kaylee Smith pitched well. Casey Lang had a double and a few RBIs, I think 3 hits. So Sharks took care of business there. Other stuff going on around Patrick Henry, big win over Andrew Jackson. And we'll talk a little bit later about Charlie Sauls, who signed with Bob Jones yesterday. In your region, Mullis, James Island beat Bluffton, Colleton blanked Lucy Beckham. Same thing in baseball. James Island beat Bluffton, Colleton beat Lucy Beckham. And then Kylie Rask continues to be a revelation. 12 strikeouts, 1 hit in a shutout of West Ashley last night. That's a 5A program that gave Colleton all they wanted once and scored some runs on them the second time. So some interesting results there. And then in a minute, we'll talk about Hilton Head Prep baseball too, because we got a guy who wants to talk about it with us. But anything jump out to you guys over the last few days?
Yeah, impressed by Colleton. That's a nice 7-0 shutout win over Lucy Beckup, and Davian Varner with a 7 innings complete game shutout. So good to see that from him, and good to see that from this Cougars side. Then Hilton Head Prep just continuing to take care of business. We'll get to them later, but an 11-1 win over Wade Hampton. And then Patrick Henry. We've talked a lot about them this year, and they've got some talent on the baseball field. 14-3, bringing up the offense against Andrew Jackson. A big game from Camden Stanley, drove in 3 runs. Nathan Corley played 2. A lot of hitters in that lineup. And then Forrest Ferry, who we mentioned, a couple of guys who shine on the football field this past fall, doing on the baseball diamond as well.
Cameo from Angela over there. But, yeah, Mullis, anything? Obviously, you guys took some lumps on Friday night against Philip Simmons, ran out of pitching on a region week where you had a non-region game at the end of the line. But anything you've seen over the last few days? Buford's been playing a heck of a schedule lately.
Oh, my God. Is there a harder schedule? Are they in the AL East? They got Somerville tonight and then Fort Dorchester again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's God dang.
Being battle tested.
I can't. What was that boy's name that made that schedule?
Zach.
Oh my goodness, what was he thinking? Look, I'm all for playing anybody, anywhere, anytime, but damn, you don't have to play the AL East.
You don't got to play 2 with Somerville, 2 with Fort Dorchester the same week.
And they got Ashley Ridge coming.
Yeah, they're gonna definitely sharpen that iron up a little bit. But man, they're playing good baseball.
Shane's sick this week. I mean, he's not feeling good. It's a bad week to be sick.
He's probably our one viewer right now. But well, guys, I mentioned Hilton Head Prep getting another win last night, 11-1 at Wade Hampton, which is a pretty impressive W. That's a real good win to go up there and do that. And to talk about it, we got Coach Chris Wells, and we'll pull him in here. Wellsy, you over there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. You got me?
Yeah, we got you. We got your audio. We don't have your beautiful face on screen, but we'll deal with the audio. How's it going over there, man? You guys are playing some good ball.
Yeah, just another day in paradise down here on the south end of Hilton Head. It was good. We had to get on the bus last night and travel up to Hampton, and I don't know. We've just been running into ace after ace everywhere we go. It's just the timing of the week. It's like, yeah, we got our senior ace going again today. We had that a couple weeks ago at Patrick Henry, and again last night, a couple weeks ago at Colleton, we saw the Varner kid. But it's good. It's a good test for us, and it was definitely a good win last night.
11-1 victory over Wade Hampton. Coach, thanks for joining us. Tell me about what has impressed you the most about this group of players here in 2023.
Yeah, Wes, we didn't really know what to think of this squad going in. We knew we had good kids that love to show up and practice hard. We knew we were going to be young. Teenagers are about as predictable as the stock market, so you just never know. And we've been going with about a 10-man guy. If we turn in a scorecard that's got a DH in the lineup, that's usually the 10 we play with. Last night we started with 9, and that's pretty much what we played with all night. Not a lot of depth, but some athletes, and we're starting 3 freshmen, 2 sophomores every night. And our philosophy is throw strikes. We don't teach our guys to draw walks. No coach has ever gone, man, that guy draws a mean walk. We're trying to keep the pace of play going. We pound the strike zone and tell our defense to make the plays behind it. We like those hour and 45-minute games. We'll do a lot of practices where we'll just put the machine on the mound and we'll compete against each other. And it's 4-3 after 9 innings, throwing fastballs right down the middle. So we try to hammer that home. At the front of the pack for us, Peyton got the start again last night. He's something like, I don't know how many innings. He's thrown almost 30 innings this year and only given up 3 walks. Going into last night, he'd given up 0 walks. We're baseball junkies, right? He walked their leadoff guy last night 3 times. That's the only walks he's given up all year. And he's the epitome of a crafty lefty. He doesn't throw hard, but he throws 3 pitches at the high school level in the strike zone. And that just keeps guys off balance. And as a lefty, he kind of shuts down the running game. So we like it when he's on the mound. And it was another good performance out of him last night for sure. And the other core four on the mound kind of follow his lead and been doing the same thing when they get a chance on the bump.
Yeah, you said it right there. I mean, if you can put it in the zone consistently, high school hitters are going to get themselves out more often than not. And if you just don't give them free bases and free outs, it usually works out pretty well in your favor. You also like to kind of put pressure on the defense and play the small ball game and make them make plays. How is this particular team seems to be pretty suited to that philosophy? You got a lot of guys who get on base, and then you got a couple boppers down in the lineup who can run it out of the yard every once in a while. So, how's the personnel kind of fit the philosophy this year?
Sometimes the philosophy fits the talent level, right? Like if I had Aaron Judge batting second for me, I'd never ask him to put down a bunt either. But when you only got 21 outs in a 7-inning ball game, you want the other team to earn it. So if I've got a guy that I feel is a little overmatched, heck yeah, we're going to put down a bunt and make the other team field it, throw it, catch it, and move a runner over. And if they throw it away, that'll start a rally. So we want the other team to earn those 21 outs. And a lot of times that is the bunting game or hit and runs or squeezing in a run. And we up and down the lineup, most everybody is called on to do that. I mean, we drew a leadoff walk last night. We stole second on the first pitch, and we had our 2-hole hitter put down a bunt on a 2-1 count. And he was standing at third base in the first inning with 1 out, and we got a run early. When you're on the road, I think sometimes getting that first run makes a big difference. You don't want to be in the third, fourth inning going, good gosh, we're already this far into the game. We haven't scored. And pitchers pitch a little bit different when there's from the stretch than they do the windup. They get a little distracted. Their heart starts beating a little bit more. And we lose track of the fact that these young men are a lot of times playing the game pretty nervous. Ned knows what that's all about.
You got some plus speed too. You got some guys that can run.
No doubt. Our top 2 guys, I mean, good luck. They'll probably go all season with getting thrown out, knock on wood. And then, we've got some other guys that run as well. And we look for opportunities. And sometimes we run just because, even though the pitcher might be quicker to home than he should be, and the catcher's got a good pop time, but so what? I had back when Dan Dreesen was my assistant coach, and we were playing up at Stratford, and Wieters was the catcher, and he's like, Coach, we're in the 4th inning. You haven't tried to run on him. I was like, Coach, have you seen his arm? He goes, so what? They got to catch it. They got to throw it. They got to catch it, and they got to tag him. I was like, all right. We drew a walk the next inning, and I was like, this kid has no chance of stealing second on Wieters. And we sent him, and it went off the shortstop's glove in the short center field, and we were standing on second. We got him in, and we won the game 2-1. So I've taken that to heart, back when I was a young coach, learning from guys like that sometimes you just do things to do it and try to get something going. If they make the play, you tip your hat and move on to the next play.
Coach Chris Wells here on Lowco Diamond Dudes, and Coach, Pace Gardner has been someone who's been really impressing me throughout his tenure here at Hilton Head Prep. A veteran piece of this lineup. He's got some nice speed, great baseball IQ. What has he meant to this team so far here in the 2023 campaign?
He's meant a lot. I started my tenure 5 years ago, and Pace Gardner was a little 8th grader, and he was playing for us back then. And it's funny, seeing some pictures of me and him standing together when he was just a little guy. And he, back then, the attributes he had was good defense and speed, and he could put down a bunt. And we didn't ask him to do much more than that. He played right field and got his at-bats and stole some bases for us. And he's grown into a leader. He's just a really fun kid to be around. He's an example of why we coach. A kid that plays the game right, that hustles, that is a good teammate. And you can't, I don't think you can compliment anybody better than calling him a good teammate. We try to teach our kids that. And on the field, he's got a lot more than those skills that he had as an 8th grader. He's a plus speed guy, steals a base. He's hitting for power now. He had a big double off the wall last week in a region game at Christian Academy. He's already hit a home run for the first time in his life this year. He's peppering the outfield wall. His arm is an elite high school arm. He goes and makes plays in the gaps on a routine basis. So he's certainly, when he goes, we go, kind of thing. So he's certainly a barometer for our success most nights.
Tell me a little bit about Christian Bueso, because he's kind of been a project over the years, and it seems like almost every box score now I see he hits a home run. So he's a big old dude with some serious power. Does he have some potential to keep playing, or any of these guys have a shot to keep playing?
That's a loaded question there, Justin. When he hits it, he certainly hits it hard, and he is a big boy. And he hit one last night that I think just came down. Their coach, who's a good guy, he came over. He's like, "Coach, that one was prettier going out than it was coming in, and it hit a spot in center field that in their parking lot that most cars are not worried about parking in. It was about as far ball as I've seen at the high school level."
He didn't scatter any pickup trucks out there.
It came darn close. There were some big tires that on those trucks, and it came pretty close to hitting some windshields. But he got all of that one, and he'll go into slumps, then he'll come out of it when you least expect it. He had a big hit in the Christian Academy win last week. That home run last night certainly kind of put the game out of reach, and you could just see the air kind of come out of the sails for Wade Hampton on that one. And he's been playing a really nice first base for us. Obviously, he's a big target, but he's still an athlete. He's played football and basketball during his time at prep, and he surprised you with his athleticism from time to time as well. So he's another senior that's contributing to an otherwise young lineup.
Speaking of those two wins over Hilton Head Christian Academy, getting both against the Eagles in that series, your thoughts on those two games and your thoughts on this Eagles team so far?
Yeah, again, back to the beginning of the season, didn't know what to expect from our squad. Certainly, Christian Academy's roster is a good one. Felt like they were certainly the preseason favorites in our region. We pulled out a real tough one on Monday at our place, 3-0. Peyton did a great job just peppering the strike zone, and we got the clutch hits, and they didn't know what to expect at their place other than it was going to be a packed house, and they were going to give us their best shot. Getting a couple runs again in the first inning at their place, I think, loosened us up a little bit to play aggressive and put them on the defensive. I don't know how many games we would win in a 10-game series, but we sure won the first two, and we'll take them. We've got them at our place in a few weeks for the third game, but it was a very special night on Wednesday at their place, down going into the seventh. What were we down? Down 2 with 2 outs in the seventh with a runner on first. Our 8 and 9 hole hitters are up, both little ninth graders, and the 8 hole hitter, Fidian Rooney, blooped a single into right center. So we got first and second. Calvin has a good at bat, fouling things off, and then he ropes. It's the hardest hit ball I've seen him hit in a game or in practice. He ropes it into left center field for a double. Now we got the time run standing on third. We score him on a wild pitch, and then Pace comes up and hits the double off the wall to give us the lead. The bottom of the seventh was no joke. They had a runner on first, got him to second on a wild pitch, got him to third on a wild pitch. I'm like, pitching's supposed to be our strength, guys. What are we doing? And we left him stranded, tying run on third base with a ground out to short. And it was certainly a great feeling to pull that victory off and kind of clinch the region for us. And now we can kind of focus on the second half of the season and getting ready for playoffs and making sure we're firing on all cylinders come playoff time.
That one shortened your life just a little bit more, like many have over the years, I'm sure. But
no joke.
You mentioned, coaching with Dan Dreesen and your time at Hilton Head High. You've been doing this for a very long time and seen a bunch of good players and teams. But, what do you make of kind of the level of talent that we have in the area right now relative to, other points in time? It seems like obviously there's more schools than there ever been. There's more depth, but you feel like we're both the floor and the ceiling are rising right now in the Lowco?
Justin, you started that by saying I've been coaching a long time. That's just a real nice way of calling me an old man. I started coaching high school baseball. Join
the club, buddy. Join the
club. Right. Ned, we see the grays.
Just bringing it up.
I started coaching high school baseball in South Carolina in 1997. And when I say that out loud, it's like, wow. And moved to the Lowcountry in the fall of 98 and have been coaching high school for the better part of, 25 years now. There's more teams now, right? There's more schools now. When we started back then, there wasn't even a Bluffton high school, so the kids came across the bridge and the walls were busting at Hilton Head High. And, You had 30 kids trying out for varsity baseball, and and we were still small relative to the Somervilles and Fort Dorchesters and Stratfords that
there wasn't an Ashley Ridge.
Yeah, there wasn't an Ashley Ridge. Fort
or Lucy
Dorchester
Beckham.
None of that existed.
West Ashley.
Or a Cane Bay or
West Ashley.
Fort Dorchester had just opened their walls previously.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you the test of time there. But here specifically in the Lowcountry, things have changed a lot. Buford's grown, Battery Creek and the lines have changed a little bit. Whale Branch opened, Bluffton High opened, then May River High opened, and you've seen a rise in attendance and growth in our community that's led to rise and growth in the public or the private schools. John Paul opened their doors. Christian Academy has changed campuses, and from what I can tell, they're darn near capacity and continuing to do good things. So there's more schools. The talent level, I think it's spread a little thinner. There's still some upper level talent on a lot of these rosters, but I think a lot of us still try to do more with less on a day in, day out basis. Because when it comes playoff time and you're going up to compete against the top teams in Myrtle Beach and Charleston and Columbia and Greenville, you think about it. Yeah. In the last 50 years, has anybody won a state championship in baseball in the Lowcountry? It's hard to do. I think it's real important for the kids to understand to compete and put your best foot forward, because you never know. I mean, when we went into the 2007 season, we didn't think about state championship. We were just trying to beat Bluffton and win the region. And next thing you know, we were playing well, and 29 wins later, we're in the state championship trying to pull out a victory against AC Flora, and they ended up top 25 in the country and beat our brains in, and it's hard to get there. And it's once you get there, it's even harder to win.
By the way, they're still doing it.
They still are. Yeah, it'd be nice to have that kind of roster year in and year out. But, I think it's more important that there's more teams. That means there's more opportunities for people to play. There's more opportunities for kids to fill out rosters, whether it's on my bench or Ned's bench, or at John Paul or at Buford High. There's more opportunities for kids to play the game that we love, and to learn life lessons through this game, because, in my 25 years in the Lowcountry, there's only a handful of kids that have cashed any professional checks. So that's not the reason we're into coaching. When those diamonds in the rough come along, it's special, but that's not why I'm doing it. I certainly love to teach these kids time management, and hard work does pay off. And, we got a text after the game last night, that was forwarded to me, and it was a compliment about our players. Hey, first time meeting the coach in person at Wade Hampton, and he told a mutual friend, that was a classy group that came here, and we really enjoyed playing that group. I can't wait to show my kids that text, just to say, you're representing the Dolphins, you're representing your family, and job well done there through the game of baseball, right? Like you see it. Some people know how to compete, and some people don't. I had a Hall of Fame D1 football coach tell me one time, you win with pride and you lose with dignity. And I think that's a lot about what we're trying to teach these kids through the game of baseball. And don't get me wrong, I'm as competitive as the next guy, and probably been accused of being more competitive than most. And I want to win every game we play. And you see it, a lot of time through my body language on the field. But, I remind our kids and remind myself that it's not just about winning. There's a lot of other lessons we're learning.
Couldn't have said it better, Coach. Love your philosophy on that. And speaking about, these young players coming up, as a coach who's been around for a number of years now, what are the biggest pieces of advice you would give a freshman or a sophomore in their classman who's pursuing the game of baseball at this level and potentially further at the next level?
Great question, Wes. And I get that a lot. And my answer is, look, the first thing you have to do is understand the game of baseball, and you have to embrace the failures that are within it. If you can't handle the failures, if you've got to cuss, or you've got to throw your helmet, or you got to argue with an umpire because you don't like the strike 3 call that you just got, this game's not for you. It's just not. Mm-hmm. You have to be mature enough to understand that the failures are inherent in this game, and you have to embrace them and be ready for the next one, and understand that more opportunities come, because the reason we love the game of baseball is because it's so hard and nobody conquers it. I mean, you just saw the World Baseball Classic finish up with Ohtani versus Trout. Trout failed, Ohtani succeeded in the last out of the game. You think Trout's cussing and screaming and throwing and crying and not showing up to the next day? No, that's what makes it so special. There's no cheat code for our game. And you've got to be able to fight through and endure and still love it for it. If the game got easier as we played it, what would we do? We'd all stop playing it. You know, you give your kid a video game or you start playing a game and it gets easy. They want to know what's next. I want to play something else. The game of baseball will be hard for the best, and it'll be hard for the people at our level. And if you want to get to the next level, you got to understand that first and keep working through it.
Amen, man. That's I harp on that a lot with our young guys. You know, just we never get upset about failures because failures are the only way you get better. It's every failure is an opportunity to improve, and you really have to embrace that. You really do, and you have to move on from it because, as you know, you go down on strike three looking, and you're still in your feelings about it. That next ball on defense is getting hit right at you, and it's going to be scalded.
A real quick example of that, Justin. Our ace last week at Christian Academy didn't like a strike three call against him, ended an inning, stranded some runners in a key situation. We're still up 3-1, I believe. And he took it out to the mound and lost the strike zone and hadn't seen that out of him all year. He pounds the strike zone. His stats will back it up. And next thing you know, we're looking at each other and go, what in the world is going on? And they had bases loaded and hit a bases clearing a triple. And we had nobody to fault but ourselves. So he matured from that and he grew from that. And, there's just a lot of lessons that you can learn. And if you lose focus for a little bit because of, focusing on the negatives, it'll really impact the next opportunity in front of you.
No question.
Well, something kids need to know too. You got to embrace practice more than the game.
Yes.
If you don't love practice, you're never going to be great in the games. And, a lot of them take practice as a necessary evil. You got to be a great practice player first before you can be a truly great player.
There's no doubt. I can go down the line, but the Brian Harrisons and the Kevin Hickeys,
oh my God,
those kind of kids, coach, what time? They didn't want to know what time practice started. They didn't want to know what time players had to report on game day. They wanted to know what time the field was being opened. And they would be there in the parking lot as you rolled in because they want to get extra work in. And if they had time between extra work and, when the other players were going to show up, they'd say, okay, coach, how can I help get the field ready? I was coaching in the North-South game and Matt Wieters was there. No, not Matt Wieters, Justin Smoke. And, I had a brief conversation with him and he'll never remember the conversation. And I said, give me some piece of advice. And he goes, Coach, think about how many at-bats you get in a high school season. It's very limited. He goes, if I knew a JV team or anybody at Stratford High School was throwing a bullpen, I showed up, put my helmet on, told the catcher not to tell me what pitch was coming, and I went and stood in the batter's box during any bullpen I could just to see pitches. And he goes, I felt like I was cheating. I was seeing a lot more pitches than you ever do. And, the kid on my team right now that leads the team in at-bats has got 47 at-bats this year.
Right.
Think about it. How many pitches has he seen all year? You might see you'll see more pitches in 2 days worth of bullpens than you'll see in a whole season. So how can you make yourself better? The kids that love to practice are ready to show out come game day.
No question. Guys, anything else for Coach Wells before we let him get on with this day?
Hey, Wellesley, you brought up Brian Harrison. How's it feel to coach guys that's got young kids now?
Let me tell you something. I coached Ryan Kelly's older brother, Jacob, and his son is playing JV baseball at Hilton Head High School. So, Wes started the conversation. One of his questions was about Pace Gardner, who's a senior in high school and getting ready to graduate. I went to Pace Gardner's parents' wedding 20-something years ago. So, yeah, man, I get reminded about things all day, every day.
Yeah, I've coached a few.
We should do a podcast on it. You talk about some kids that turned out great that came through here. I mean, it's just some of the guys you had, and, that we know them now as young men and watching them as fathers and how good they're doing. And You know, that's so much. That's another level, and that is so much fun.
I'll give you another name real quick, John Snell. I do work with him professionally from time to time, and we go down memory lane quite a bit. And he sometimes will pose the question, "Hey, Coach, if you could do an all-time Hall of Fame All-Star team from your time at Hilton Head High School, would I be on that team?" And I'm like, you might be a utility player, my man. And
honorable mention.
Yeah.
Tough team to make.
He was a stud. He was all state, all region MVP on our team. And, there were some special guys that came through there. And, a lot of them, their faces are on the Hall of Fame wall over there now. So it's cool.
I've coached a few of kids I covered in high school, and that was a real smack in the face the first time it happened when Paige Sasko's little boy showed up to practice. That kind of smacked me in the face. But
Jamal Brooks's kid's going to be coming through the system not far from now, so I'm excited to see if he's as big a gym rat as Jamal was, because Jamal's in my he's in my Hall of Fame too. He was a special kid. I really enjoyed.
Man, he had some wheels too. He was an athlete to say the least. But one other thing before we let you go, it's opening day. Carmen Majinski is still in the Pirate system, moving to the bullpen this year. We're going to see him in the bigs this year. Yeah.
I think you do. I mean,
I think so
in that organization, his body, his talent. I mean, and he's one of those kids that likes to practice and works hard. He'll do all the right things. I mean, God willing, if he stays healthy, I think he's going to be up in the bigs this summer.
I do too, and I think he'll have a pretty good long run there. I heard this on the radio earlier today, and I thought I'd pass it along, talking about opening day. You remember when you were younger and you got a new iPhone, and you were just ready to see what all the new features were and how it was going to play. That's what opening days feels like to me this year, right? Like, okay, how is this really going to play out? I'm excited to see the pace of play and how they've trimmed the fat, and you're going to get more action in a condensed period of time. And it's going to bring the athletes back to the game, and you got to cover and you got to go be more athletic. Are they going to be some, are the stolen bases going to come back? And I'm excited to see it. And I hope it gets more young people watching the game, because, you all these kids we're coaching, a lot of them don't watch it. No, they just watch highlights on YouTube or TikTok.
So I think if you got a shorter attention span, and you can get games done in 2.5 hours, more of them are going to come back to check it out. So I'm excited for that. I'm a big pace of play guy. Hustle on, hustle off, get the ball back to the pitcher. Let's go. And I'd like to see that come back to the big leagues. Yeah,
it's one of the things I love about youth baseball is we get it in, man, because we're on time limit too. So sometimes we're racing to try to get through the inning, So
exactly.
It brings a different element into it. But we appreciate you, man, and we certainly appreciate all the work you've done over the decades, plural, coaching kids here in the Lowcountry and shaping young men. And like Coach Mullis said, seeing them grow up and go out on their own and be contributing members of society, that's the ultimate win. So congratulations on all your success, not only this season, but throughout your career, and best of luck the rest of the way. We'll be watching, and we'll talk with you soon, man.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Wes. We'll catch up soon, Ned.
See you, Wesley.
All right. Let's hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with more here on the Lowco Diamond Dudes. Hey, Lowco sports fans. This podcast and all of our grassroots local sports content are made possible by support from community sponsors, including Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of Lowco Sports, and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. Our original sponsors are still among our greatest supporters. Ryan and Tiffany Mickelson are community pillars who will be in your corner no matter your legal needs. When you need legal representation, call on the attorneys who support Team Lowco. Call Mickelson Law Firm. Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, the official hospice provider of Lowco Sports, and the only not-for-profit hospice in southern Beaufort County. For more than 30 years, the committed, compassionate staff at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry have been there to ensure your loved ones find comfort, honor, and dignity at the end of life. Because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. Homegrown Home Inspections, the official home inspectors of Lowco Sports. Jan Lucas and his team provide thorough, detailed home inspections aimed to ensure everyone goes into the transaction with open eyes and confidence. Jan would rather reveal an inconvenient truth than look the other way and provide reassurances that could come back to burn the buyer in the long run. If you're looking to buy or sell a home and need an honest, reliable inspector, call on Homegrown Home Inspections, official sponsors of Lowco Sports. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. If your business or organization has a website and you're trying to figure out what SEO is, you need to call on Denise and Dave Sinkovich at DDS Web Design. They'll provide a free consultation and do all the behind-the-scenes work to boost your search engine optimization and get your website found online so you can take your business to the next level. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. American Wood Reface, sustaining sponsors of Lowco Sports. Does your kitchen need a facelift? Before you start picking out new cabinets, give Ben and the team at American Wood Reface a shot. They can reface your existing cabinets to overhaul your aesthetic without the hefty price tag and reimagine your kitchen at a price point you can manage. Be sure to tell them Lowco sent you because every referral helps support Lowco Sports. 4M Metals, sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports. Got metal? Your roof might need it. Metal roofing advantages include better energy efficiency, weather protection, longevity, a more aesthetically pleasing design, and the product is all green. So if you've been thinking about a new roof, go metal. Let 4M Metals be the difference in your roof. Jay's Barbershop. It's the talk of the town and the place to be in Ridgeland. If you need your ears lowered, head over to Jay's for a fresh cut and great conversation with good folks. And tell them Lowco sent you. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of Lowco Sports. They sling some of the best pies in the Lowco, and my kids say the mac and cheese is the best around. Hungry? Hit up Local Pie, longtime supporter of Lowco Sports. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry, the official floor cleaners of LowcoSports.com. If your feet tell you your floors need cleaning, call on Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. They provide residential and commercial services, including cleaning carpet and area rugs, tile and grout, upholstery, curtains and drapes, mattresses, and more. But most importantly, they'll get those floors so clean, your feet will thank them. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. Hilton Head Prep is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we tell you all about the Dolphins' athletic exploits. But did you know it's also the #1 ranked private K-12 school in Beaufort County and ranks in the top 2.5% of schools nationwide? Visit hhprep.org to see what Hilton Head Prep has to offer. Beaufort Academy is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we love covering the Eagles. With a student-to-faculty ratio of 7-1 and an average class size of 14 students, Beaufort Academy could be just the educational solution you're looking for, with more one-on-one attention. BA has a strong history of working with the whole child to prepare each student for college and life. Check them out at BeaufortAcademy.org. Thank you to all of our sustaining and supporting sponsors for their support of LowcoSports.com. Go Lowco. Welcome back to Mullis's Hand. What's up, buddy? It's all good. We're teaching the old dog new tricks here, but that was a great interview.
Wilson just called. I've had to call him back.
Was he watching? Tell him he's got to watch the podcast.
No, they were taking BP. They got Wake Forest tonight.
Wilson Mullis is a student assistant at Clemson for the baseball team. What's he doing these days? What are his roles up there?
It comes through as a man. It goes through the manager department, but he's doing a lot of analytics. He loves it. A lot of the scouting, stuff like that. I mean, he's in the new staff up there. He really likes the new staff, and it's he's just living the dream. Travels every weekend with them. That's a good rule of thumb for the kids around here. There's more than one way to skin a cat. That's right. You want to stay in the game. There's other ways. You want to stay in the game. I mean, and those numbers aren't going away. And he gets it. He'll always come home and tell me how when he comes in and he'll see a lineup, he is like, well, you really need to go this direction. Like, the numbers will tell you the 6-7 hole hit with more people in scoring position than any other place. And I'm like, well, God, that makes sense. It does. And, I mean, he'll make you look at it in a new frame, when he comes home. Well, I enjoyed talking with Coach Wells, and obviously known him a long time, as all of us have. He's got a great heart for
for coaching baseball, coaching kids, and has had a tremendous amount of success when you go back to the time at Hilton Head High and then what he's done at Hilton Head Prep. Because I mean, that program was in disarray when he came in and took over, and he got it right back up on good footing in a hurry. So some great insight there. And I know
Susie's, he didn't mention Susie, and I know he normally would because I know he loves him.
Yeah.
Ken's been around with him a long time too. And that's a good old baseball guy. And, I wanted to touch on something. I didn't want to interrupt him, but y'all were talking about the floor and the ceiling for players.
Yeah.
And this could be a whole nother podcast in itself, but
sure.
We were talking about how do the players, the ceiling around here is a pretty high ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been,
I mean, you put undue expectations on these guys to be first round draft picks, or hell, Dreesen was what, a 20-year major leaguer. I mean, that's pretty high ceiling.
Yeah.
And, I mean, but a lot of Division I players, the talent, the high end talent that's come through here is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And, but I do think with the players today, I think the floor is about as high as I've seen.
Yeah.
I was telling you, Justin, we had to cut some guys this year that were good baseball players.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it hurts your feelings. I mean, most of the time it's pretty cut and dry, but man, it wasn't like that. I mean, those kids, you had to cut some guys that could play.
Yeah.
And
and that's going to keep happening more and more. I mean, when you look at the number of kids that are playing, fairly high level travel ball, and it's definitely elevating as far as that goes. But we may have another couple of new high schools before too long too. Who knows?
I really felt when travel ball started around here, and we mentioned it earlier, was the Harrisons.
Yep.
Brian Harrison and those guys when they were coming through. And when we started, I remember Seelbach was talking about it. We would go to Columbia, or we'd go to Jacksonville, or we'd go somewhere like that. And God, we just felt like we were so behind. Yeah. And we felt, but hell, they'd been doing it for 10 years. And now, Wilson's class and, so those 2020 guys, the 2019 guys, they played travel the whole way through.
Yeah.
And that was when you started to see the Darren Horns, the Bennetts, or just in our little world.
Yeah.
How much more developed they were. And your kids, they'll have never not played travel the whole way through.
Right.
That hasn't always been like that around here.
Right.
And
it makes a difference,
up.
Man. The baseball IQ and just the ability to react to situations and anticipate. Yeah, absolutely. It's different when you get those reps. You play that many games against a higher caliber competition. You see it when you go to a rec game. You can tell the kids who are playing travel baseball or softball and the ones who aren't pretty quickly. So you can just see
that
it.
Doesn't mean there's not a home for rec baseball.
100%. Like that. You got to start there, and I think it's good for the travel kids to continue to play rec baseball.
I do too.
I mean, I think it makes the kids around them better. It elevates the level of play, and I think I always used our travel kids as kind of my team captains to be the role models. And hey, show them how we do it, guys. Go do it the way we do it.
Some of the other
guys. Teach them to be good teammates. Teach them to be leaders.
And a bunch of them are now playing travel ball who played on my rec teams, and then they ended up picking up with travel teams.
You got to be talented, but you also got to be humble, and you got to be that kind of leader and have that. If you want to be a solid player, you want to show that leadership. You want to give off good energy towards your teammates, and the way you do that is to show good practice, be that role model, and be someone that your other teammates and peers can look up to. And I think a lot of that happens with being that role player or being that, that leader in the lower levels, and then, adjusting to that role player when you get higher up. So yeah, it's kind of cool, how you have that mix of you still have that rec baseball opportunity, but then there's chances to play, a higher prestige when you play travel ball or play up with a bigger group like that. So I think it works.
I got a question for you. And we were talking about, I know one of the podcasts we were talking about atmospheres and stuff like that. We played about as tough a baseball game as you're going to play last night. And I want to give a shout out to all people that are brought up the right way and play the right way, and parents doing a good job. Was there one piece of chippiness in that game at all last night? Not one piece.
No.
That was it was just
very...
so fun to watch two teams play their butts off and hard and literally, I'm telling you, if you didn't know no better, they were pulling for each other because it was just a great game.
Well, and then it carried over to Twitter too. You know, Tyson went on there and posted his great stat line, and Ethan Russo responded and said, "Great pitching, man. See you on Friday." I said, "I love to see it. That's what you want to see. That competitiveness."
It was no chippiness. It was everybody. You know, Shane has been on a rant about this. You know, and you know, maybe we can get him on at some point to talk about this.
For sure.
It has. I'm not going to say it's got out of hand, but it's rough. There is a lot of, and everybody is guilty of it. As I pick on Bennett a little bit. I used to grab him all the time. Pull for your own guys. You know, he'd chirp with the best of them, but that was just him. You know, and I mean Lehman too, and I love him to death. I mean James Lehman, best baseball player I probably ever coached, but boy, he'd chirp, and you know, you love him and you just want to, you know, but it's so hard to find that happy, you know, where is the line? You know, where is it? And, you know, and I tell our guys, there's never a game where I don't tell our guys, hey, you see these little guys over here, they're you in 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So how you act is what they're going to do this weekend, because they ain't watching a big league game. They're watching y'all.
I will vouch for that. They monkey see, monkey do, man. They mimic and imitate everything those guys do, and they look up to them. So take it to heart, guys, because it's true. I coach the little guys, and I see them. I see what they do, and they pay attention, and it matters. But you're absolutely right there. And let's transition a little bit because we mentioned them earlier. But tell me a little bit more about Darren Horn, old Bugs, and Bennett Romer and the success they're having at the next level. I know Bugs has, you know, gotten hit a little bit lately, but gosh dang, 42 strikeouts in 25 innings or whatever is legit. ERA be damned. He's got swing and miss stuff. And Bennett Romer, gosh, what a pleasant surprise how quickly he's developed into a weekend guy for them, and is 5-0 with a 248 or whatever. I mean, he's pitching lights out.
Yeah,
well,
both
of those guys. Oh, go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, well, I mean, just echoing off of Justin saying, both of these guys have been tremendous so far in their roles. And Bennett Romer, it's a great story. You know, a guy who has worked his tail off to get to where he is now and posting numbers that he is. I mean, it just speaks to, you look at the coaching staff down there at May River and what they did to help grow him and everybody involved, going down to the rec baseball time. I mean, it's a team effort to cultivate a player to where he is now. And it takes a lot of hard work. And he's been a great success story, someone who I thought had a chance to do some big things in the next level, but this is much bigger than I expected, and good for him. And just awesome to see, you know, two guys from this area over at May River showing out at the college level. And like I said, I believe last episode, you know, it rubs off on the current players there. And I think it gets everyone else better too, to have someone to look up to. But man, Darren Horn, we saw shades of it last year. He has just continued to turn it on. I love the mix of pitches that he has in his arsenal. He's just gaining more confidence out there on the mound, and the facts and numbers speak for themselves. I mean, already solidifying as an excellent guy out of the bullpen for this South Carolina team, a squad that has had a lot of, you know, success these last few years. And I think Horn's on a great track record, you know, to continue this, not just for the rest of his career over at Coastal Carolina, but get a real chance to play professionally. And I think he's on the right track in his development. So I want to hear your thoughts on what you think the potential is these next few for both these players.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I think Bennett could throw. My gut feeling, Bennett's going to throw really hard. He's low 90s now. I think he's just touching his potential. He got really lucky. Banks Faulkner, one of the best high school baseball coaches in the state, got hired as his pitching coach, at Newberry, and Banks pretty good. And, he's in good hands. And
number 8 team in the country in D2, by the way.
Look at that. I mean, and you got 1 and 8, about 30 miles from each other?
Yeah.
North Greenville with Landon and those guys are, go watch. If you want to see some good baseball, go watch some of that sometime. North Greenville looks like a football team. I mean, they are, that is some good baseball to watch. That is some fun baseball to watch. And, and you can get it. They're going to be around. I mean, it ain't like you've got to drive 6 hours to go see them. You can catch those guys. Hell, I think their thing is in Columbia. I think they're
soon enough you'll be able to probably catch them playing a non-conference series with USCB out in Hardyville.
And the parents, if anything, if you want to help young baseball players, everybody's on streaming stuff now. Get ESPN3.
Yep.
You can watch so much.
You watch any college baseball game.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I set up my YouTube TV to DVR every college baseball game, and then if there's nothing on TV, I just put one on.
Like I got a text from Starks the other day. I was at it was something, and he was like, Darren's pitching against UNC right now.
Yeah.
And I mean,
you got to put me on the phone tree for that. I can't keep track of all the things that are going on.
I have to send you some of you might want some of the Darren. I wish we could. The Darren post-game texts are always the best.
Yeah.
Because we like to tell them not to wear it on their sleeves and stuff like that, but he tends to. And they're really good, or he is. Man, but I tell you, you're talking about where those kids could go. They both have different qualities, but they both. You take Carmen Majinski. Carmen's got that power sinker and that power slider, and that's what plays right now. And they were talking about Darren's power sinker the other day, and I mean, if people can tune in and watch that thing, just watch the run on this thing. I mean, it is 90 miles, 92, and I mean the problem with Darren right now is he is just starting to learn how to kind of be a sinker ball guy.
Yeah.
And now that they've kind of put him in the starting role, a lot of the problems that sinker ball pitchers run into is they get pumped up and it flattens out. And that's kind of what happened to him the other day. It didn't have the same run that he was because he was excited. He was ready for that first start.
He was hitting the breakout of it.
Yeah. And, and he's still got that slider, but, I don't care who you are. If you're a one pitch guy,
yeah,
it's not going to work.
No.
And, but he's got those 2 pitches, just like, I'm not comparing him to Carmen. I'm not, but I'm saying they have that same bottom of the zone power style that is kind of the anti-elevate and celebrate crowd.
Yep.
And then, but Bennett has got the high 4-seam that, that we used to call it carry when we were growing up. Like if you were lawn tossing with a guy, there's a guy that could throw one on a clothesline and it would get there.
Yeah.
There's a guy that would have to put some air under it and it would get there. Well, we used to call it carry. Well, they have a way of quantifying it now. It's spin rate.
Right.
And Bennett's spin rate on his fastball it's up
off
there.
The charts. Yeah.
And, and that thing, it just stays on that clothesline and he throws it up there at the top of the zone. And that is a tough deal. And let me tell you, Bennett will compete. Bennett has learned to be a competitor. And, they, and another Lowco guy, Patterson. Didn't Patterson get some run on the bump this week? He's throwing a little bit now, isn't he?
Wes would know.
Yeah, Jacob Patterson over there at
Josh.
He's actually been a 2-way player over there. he's getting some time at the plate and the mound. And
yeah, I got that text the other night. He finally let me hit, and I hit a dinger.
Yeah, he got a home run recently for USC.
He was happy.
Yeah. And another guy too, Jacob Anderson's getting some time in center. He's got some nice speed, and he's hitting 294 at the plate. Patterson's 13 ABs. He's hitting 308 with that homer. So take advantage of
Jacob's a Beaufort guy.
But
former he's an alum of the Beaufort County Men's League, along with myself. I faced him.
And I had Jake Tanner on a couple of my travel teams growing up. I've known him for years too. Glad to see him doing well.
That's a fun team.
Really small world.
Team. That's an exciting group. I mean, I think they're really starting to figure it out these last few games, and lost a tough series against North Georgia. They were one strike away of taking the series on Saturday. Came from behind to win on Friday. Kind of fell apart on Sunday, but I love to compete. I love the depth offensively, and I think the skies. I think the ceiling's going to be pretty high with this team going forward, especially if they can find some more guys to deliver on the mound. I think the lineup has potential to do some damage later in the year. So, like what I'm seeing so far from this group with Ted Faulkner's team.
And he tends to be a really good tournament coach too. They seem to peak at the right time.
They made the finals of Sun Conference a couple of years ago.
That's what I'm saying. They might
one
be
thing
500.
I think one reason is because he'll play so many guys throughout the year. I mean, he's not going to get locked into a lineup and ride it all season long and have guys just sitting on the bench. He keeps guys engaged. He gets them playing time. He keeps them fresh and having a role. And then he also, through that, he knows what he's got. So, when it gets to crunch time, he knows how to play those matchups and substitute and get the right guys in the game at the right times, and he has some versatility. So, no, I think you're right. He's a big picture guy. He views the season as all building up toward the end, and he's putting himself in a position to have the best roster he can at the end of the year. So, I'm excited to see what they can do in that NAIA unaffiliated tournament. Excited to see how they do against Georgia Gwinnett.
I think that series is going to be tall a lot. I think how well they do this weekend, or 2 weekends from now, the April 8th. and 7th. They'll play 3 games against Georgia Gwinnett.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Absolutely. Well, we're almost out of time, guys.
You might get what you're looking for when you go up there.
Oh yeah, I mean, but that's what you want to find out, right? If you got that kind of juice or not, and if you do, then you start talking about Lewiston, Idaho, and bite-sized steak.
But you got to go do it. You got to play.
Yep, you got to do it. Miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
That's exactly
Wayne Gretzky,
right.
Michael Scott. All right. Well, a couple signings to shout out before we get out of here, guys. Mentioned Charlie Saul signing with Bob Jones, the big right-hander from Estill. Been very impressed with him this year. I think he's going to be a great pitcher for them. And then Mason Connolly from Beaufort committing to Columbia International. So a couple more guys going to play college baseball. Love to see it.
Did we go? Has Hilton Head had theirs yet?
I don't think so.
Jake Richardson, Jakey's going to Lancaster.
Okay, USC Lancaster.
Over here.
I hope I didn't let the cat out of the bag, but I know he told me that last night. And you talk about a guy that's a lot of potential right there.
Yeah, he's a good player. Is he going to pitch up there or
two-way? Two-way what his dad told me, and I guess we'll see him Friday night. I haven't seen him pitch in a while, but he was throwing it around pretty good last night from behind the dish.
He was good when I saw him earlier this season. I want to say against Hilton Head Christian. He was strong.
Who also is over at CIU's Dean Seelbach, former Hilton Head Seahawks.
Yeah, Dean. How is he? Has anybody seen his stats? How's Dino? He's coming off Tommy John, but that's another guy. Dean. Have y'all seen Dean? Dean's like 6'6".
He's huge.
He is huge. And last time I
heard,
he
has a big league pedigree.
He was throwing low 90s. And I mean, he's always had that whippy action.
2.92 ERA through 12 1/3 so far this year.
That's a really good start coming off. Hey, Dean's going to throw really, really hard.
Yeah, 12 Ks and 12 1/3, 7 walks. So probably still kind of trying to get the command back.
Like I said,
Tommy John.
He's coming off of it. He's right in that. He's got a big summer. He'll be in one of these. It'd be interesting to see his numbers in a wood bat league because his stuff will be. Look at watch Darren Horn's numbers in this wood bat league coming up.
Where's he pitching?
He is going to be with the Blowfish in Columbia.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, he's going to be a CPL.
That'd be great. Unfortunately, the Bananas are not anymore, so we won't get to see him. Won't get to see him come through here like we did Louis Smith last year. But Louis Smith doing well too up at Aiken, right? Is Louis pitching any up at Aiken?
That's a good program too.
Real good program, yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think we probably better wrap this thing up. We're pushing past an hour, so we better name our teams and players of the week. But it's been a great chat on opening day. Wes, you get the first crack at it, man. Where are you going?
I'm going to go Davion Varner for Colleton County. Great game for him and the Cougars just this past week. Pulling up the stats now, but dominant outing over there for him for this Colleton County squad.
Bunch of strikeouts last night.
He was racking them up last night for Colleton. 14 Ks, 2 walks, 7 innings pitched, so a complete game shutout, allowed just 2 hits. So really dominant out there on the mound. And, that's a Colleton County team that, you can get that quality pitching. Obviously, I mean, it's going to be hard to pitch that well against the top bats of this region. But if you can produce, I mean, a solid number of innings and limit the damage, going to give your offense a chance. So good job there by Davion Varner. And then for my team of the week, I'm going to go with the team I just saw last night, May River. I'm really impressed by what I saw from the Sharks. A very balanced lineup. They can do well in situational hitting, move runners over. They can hit for contact. Brassington's a stud. Both sides of both the mound and the plate, 3 for 4. Then struck out 4, gave up just 3 hits. 6 innings, gets the win. And then Will Korn finishing it off with a strikeout the side, 7th. But just, the tenacity, you give up that run to Hilton and you let him back in the game, you come right back on offense and you slam the door shut. I mean, that's the way you play ball. You have that, the next play, next inning, next pitch mentality. And Sharks have shown that so many times this year, 9-3 on the season. And they're going to be a tough out once you get into the playoffs for sure. So love this May River team. This opening day, I'm gonna add on my World Series pick.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make a lot of listeners and viewers happy because I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves. I'm gonna say the Braves beat the Houston Astros in a rematch of a few years back, 2021. I really like, I think the Braves have a really big window these next few years, especially from some of the guys that they've locked up. And I think they can really turn out as early as this season. They were great last year, especially down the stretch. If that rotation of Max Fried starting at the top, Spencer Strider, if they find a way to take another step, they've got so many studs across that lineup. And I think they're going to continue to put it all together this year. And it's just a really fun, exciting club to watch.
Yeah, I thought the Braves were going to win it again last year. Honestly, I really did. And
I don't know how they lost it.
I don't either. I think they're going to be the team to beat for a good while. But as we know in baseball, the team to beat can easily be beaten.
Catcher they brought in. I mean,
Murphy, yeah.
Murphy,
and that allows him to, DH Darno some, play him at first some, get him some days off. Like, in his bat is his value. So, I mean, they've made all the right moves the last few years. Like, it's
Matt
been
Olson.
brilliant.
2 teams.
And locking guys up.
The 2 best teams in baseball, the 2 best front offices in baseball are Houston and Atlanta, and it's not close.
Yeah.
The third place, maybe the Dodgers, maybe the Yankees, whoever you want to say, but
third place you're fired.
Right now are on a different level as far as the whole. I mean, the scouting departments, the front office, the whole 9 yards. I mean, they are set up to make a run. I'm with you.
I like what the Padres are doing. I think they're the one team that
I don't think it's tough to buy one these days. It's tough to buy one these days.
But I like what they're doing. They got some dudes over there. But I think the Braves are the best team for the foreseeable future. I mean, they've locked up everybody. Michael Harris is the truth, and Vaughn Grissom's going to the minors. Like, he's a stud. They're really stacked. My Cubbies, I'm just hoping for maybe like around 500. Maybe hang in the wild card race for a little while. That would be good. Mois, you got a player of the week you want to shout out, or a team of the week?
I can't. I mean, team of the week. I'm going to vote. I'm going to say Buford.
just for
because,
playing it.
Well, first of all, that game against Summerville was, I mean, you're down 6-7-1 to Summerville and come back and almost win that game. Yeah. I mean, that's showing some fight. They're 8-4 or something like that. I mean, they've got a good record.
9-4-1
9-4 or something like that. With that record, I mean, with that schedule, they got to be. I know they had a tough night last night, but you're going to have some tough nights in that schedule, and just to come through it when they come through. I was talking to Shane the other day. They had North Charleston drop their program.
Right.
So what do? He picks up 2 with Savannah Christian. Yeah, they're pretty good. And,
they're a lot better than North Charleston was going to be.
Yeah, but I mean, those guys, that's either going to beat them to death or they are going to be rock hard, son, when it gets to the playoffs, because it's going to get easier. It's going to get easier, and they are starting to develop some pitching. They got a lot of depth. That's they're gonna go a long way. There's just no doubt in my mind.
I think so too. I think they're dangerous for sure.
And I'm taking Brazington till he pitches bad is my player of the week, because that guy last night, I love that kid, and he is. Wes saw him last night. He will compete.
Yeah.
And he didn't have his good stuff last night. And you can
tell because only 4 strikeouts. He had to pitch to contact.
I've seen him with way better, but he pitched to contact. He's hit his spots. I don't think he had but 1 or 2 walks. Yeah. And that umpire was tight. He was good, but he was tight. And for those both, who's the pitcher from Hilton Head, Wes?
Blaine Gregory.
Yeah, I mean, get the lineup here. I had it with.
I believe it was Blaine Gregory, right?
Yeah, I think
he's
you're right.
Good.
He was solid. He was solid. I was impressed with what I saw. Absolutely.
Yeah, he was good too.
He kept tilting it in this game.
Yeah, he was good
fantastic.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went 6, gave up 1 run on 7 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. So really solid. Really solid outing against both were potent lineups. So for that to be a 3-1 game was a little bit surprising for me and impressive from both pitchers. So good stuff. I'll throw some love over the softball way. But which one? There's been so many of them doing so many good things. I'll give some love to Kylie Rast again. I mean, she's been just terrific, and you kind of keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it doesn't. It's like a 1-hitter or a no-hitter every time out, and she's striking out double digits every time. That West Ashley team is not a bad team at all. I saw them the other night against Colleton, and Colleton handled them, but they can swing it a little bit, and they're a 5A school, so she's doing it against quality competition. I'm eager to see how far they can go, because as we know in softball, that pitcher can carry you a long way in the postseason. And then they've got another one too with Adeline Johnson, who's pitched very well in her opportunities. So you got to have that to be able to switch it up. Those good teams will get onto a pitcher after a while. So I like them going forward. And for my team of the week, there's so many to choose from there as well. But I'll throw some love to our guy Wells, who was on the show today, and give it to Hilton Head Prep baseball. That 11-1 win over Wade Hampton is no joke. I mean, that is a quality. Yeah, that's a quality ball club, and they are now 12-2. And like you said, and both losses are to Patrick Henry and Charlie Sauls, by the way. So they're 12-0 against everybody who's not Charlie Sauls. That's impressive to me. And like he said, he went into the season thinking they were kind of not the favorites in their region that Hilton Head Christian would be. So the job that he's doing there, we talked about how the success he's had over the years, but this is about as good a coaching job, I think, as he's done, especially considering he's really developed a lot of these guys from 8th and 9th graders on to be where they are now. So shout out to Coach Wells. Thanks for a great interview, and congrats on a great season so far. Keep up the good work, guys. But anything else from you guys? Oh yeah, I guess I got to make my official. You guys are both going with the Braves. I'll say the Padres. What the heck? We'll go Padres. I'll look like a genius when it happens. Padres over the Blue Jays. How about that?
I'm going Braves over Houston.
Yeah, that's a smart pick, but it's 2023. Nothing ordinary happens
they're
anymore.
both good. Plus, the Houston just kills my Yankees, so it frustrates me.
And Wes appreciates that. As a Red
I'm going
Sox
to watch him here in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's go time, boys. The games are on. Baseball season has begun. So with that, we will end the Lowco Diamond Dudes for today. Thanks so much to our guest, Chris Wells. Thanks to our sponsors. And thanks most of all to all of you for listening or watching. Until next time, go Lowco.